You got to play the long game. Let me explain what I mean. One of the things we always tell delegates is 1 day conferences are a sprint, 3 or 4 day conferences are a marathon, right? But even in a sprint, you have to pace yourself. Maybe not a 100-yard dash, but 400 meters. You still have to pace yourself. So you do things you don't want to do. You don't want to give up all your proposals at the beginning of the conference. You don't want to say, "Here I am. I'm Cameroon, and these are the things I want to do." Because if you give all your proposals, you let them all out, then basically you have nothing left to say for the rest of the conference. And it also gives other delegates like sort of the opportunity to steal your ideas over the course of the conference. So you want to be strategic in how you let out information. At the beginning of the conference, like I said before, listen, pay attention, right? See if you can get other delegates to divulge their ideas, right? See if you can gather information from other delegates. I'm not suggesting that you steal anybody's ideas, but gather information that can help you in negotiations later on. Also, knowing what other delegates are proposing and thinking about, that can help you sort of supplement your own research. So if somebody comes up with a proposal and you're like, "I never even saw that in all my research, that's a good idea." Now you've broadened your research. Now you've broadened what you know about the topic. At multi-day, let's go back to 1 day conferences. At 1 day conferences, what's going to happen is when you get there in the morning, people are going to be groggy, right? Because you guys normally wake up at noon or whatever. You're going to be groggy in the morning. Well, they're going to be groggy too. So you've got to show up there ready to go. The other thing that happens at 1 day conferences is after lunch, delegates are groggy, right? They've been working really hard, negotiating, doing all this stuff. Now they go, they sit down, they lower their guard, they have something to eat, they come back, they sit down, you do roll call, and they're kind of like, That's when you need to be on your game. That's when you need to be the one that steps up. Okay, so note the times when other people are sort of moving slower, and make sure that you're not one of them, that you're one of the ones that's pushing forward. At the multi-day conferences, delegates are going to be sleepy on the second day, right? I'm assuming, because you're smart people, you know what sleepy means. They're going to be sleepy, especially at the beginning of the conference when the coffee has not kicked in, or the first cup of coffee has not kicked in, and neither is the second cup, right? That's when you need to be very active. One final thought, doesn't have its own heading. So to keep this in mind, especially if you're going to do the Model UN for more than one semester. The delegates that you're interacting with, either at a 1 day conference or a multi-day conference, you're going to see them again, right? There are delegates who do this year after year after year, semester after semester. Don't burn any bridges. Don't walk away from a conference just like fuck you, and then, be all pissed off and walk away. Because what's going to happen is you're going to show up at opening ceremonies in a conference in 2 weeks, and that delegate that you're all pissed off about, they're going to be there. No need to burn any bridges. You should always try and keep your cool about you. Now, here are some negotiating don'ts, things not to do. First, don't underestimate anyone. Right? Most Model UN delegates are high functioning, just like you, and very ambitious, just like you. And because some programs train their delegates to screw people over, right, you have to always be mindful that you're going to see somebody who's like really high functioning, speaks very well, is knowledgeable, and part of their plan is to screw you over. And then they believe, and the people who run these programs believe, that screwing people over is a skill that you can use in the future once you leave the Model UN that is going to help you. I believe that's complete nonsense. I believe that it may be that somebody gets a small advantage from screwing people over, but people win battles and not wars with that strategy, right? Far more likely that you're going to be successful by drawing people in, by giving them credit, by encouraging them to elevate their game, and you elevate your game at the same time. Now, if you're cynical and you think, oh no, Phil, that's very optimistic, that's fine. In our program, though, that's not what we do. But I want you to realize that in other programs, that's what they are going to do. Along with that, don't let your guard down. Right? Some delegates, especially ones who are trained that way, are going to act like they're your best friend. They're going to talk about how smart you are. They're like, I really want to work with you. And then as soon as they get the opportunity, they're going to screw you over. You have to be mindful of the fact that you are in a competition all the time. Right? You have to be mindful of that when you're during the conference, when you're taking lunch breaks, all the time. And so you don't have to be suspicious of everyone. I'm not suggesting that you be suspicious, but you do have to be alert and use the skills that you've learned, like in your lives. If you notice that a delegate is being really nice to you, but they're being a complete dick to other people, that's a clue. That's a clue that your time is coming, right? So be mindful and pay attention to not just how a delegate treats you, but how delegates treat other people as well. And then lastly, and I talked about this previously, don't lose your cool. Don't let yourself get pissed off. The Model United Nations is like a LARPing, this live action role playing. You are pretending to be a country. You are pretending to be a character, right? When it's all over, you're going to drive home and you're going to be yourself again around your friends and around your family. Don't take this stuff too seriously. If you get upset, which will happen, right? That's where you come to the head delegate or you come to me and you just blow off steam and then go back to what you want to do. But every time you lose your cool, then you're automatically throwing off your game, right? And when you're throwing off your game, you're losing, right? Some people will try and piss you off for specifically that purpose, to throw you off your game. Don't do that. Don't fall for that strategy. If you see that somebody's trying to throw you off your game by pissing you off, guess what that means? That means that they think you're formidable. That means that they're worried about you. And if they're worried about you, the more calm you are in the face of like these sort of subtle provocations, the better it is for you. And then lastly, in negotiations, they say that the most important thing is to end on a positive note. And so I'm going to end on a positive note. Have fun. Like, we're doing all this stuff, we're talking about all this serious stuff, but once you get to the conference, right? You've studied really hard, you've learned the rules of procedure, you know your topic, you've developed a strategy, you're doing all this stuff. Have fun. Enjoy yourself, right? And it will be the most positive, that increases the likelihood that it'll be a positive experience for you, a positive experience for other delegates, and one that you'll learn from and grow from.